Well, good morning, everybody. Jennifer, you give us roll call, please.
Mike Dolson,
I'm here.
Tom McDonald,
Here.
Jennifer Finley, Jim Molitor, Carol Langford, Danielle Matt, Bing Matt, James Steele Jr.,
Una.
Martin Charlo,
Present.
Len Tuteeth, Lanish Trahan.
I'm not grandfather. Grandfather, today we call on you to ask you to join us, to guide us for the work we do for our people. Help us get through all the issues that our membership has and try to face those as best we can. Ask you to be with the people that have lost loved ones, or the people that are in hospitals and sick. We just ask you to be with them. There's a lot of sick people in our communities now. I wish that you'd lay your helping hand on them. Ask you this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Jimmy. We do have minutes from June 27th. Morning, Carol. Yep.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Martin.
on the bottom of page 1, I just changed the word hierarchy, if I could say that, the chain of command. Or even just, yeah, maybe the normal process of dealing with these issues.
So just the word process then?
Yeah, I would, yeah, I would say that.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I don't know what page it is, but we're talking about Mission Valley Power section. Tom McDonald commented on the pay increases. It should be commented that the fringe increases, the fringe payroll increases. Thank you. Is that page 9? Okay.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Thank you. On page 2, there's a statement from Jennifer Finley that says at one point when she was gone, the council voted down having, I'm sure she's referring to the treatment center on the reservation and potentially offering land off the reservation, but nobody reached out to Red Shield 8. Not sure, I know I can't correct what she stated, but I don't know if it's an addition we need to make because council never officially voted on the treatment center. We had a discussion about it. So I'm not sure how to add that in or make sure that's stated that we actually didn't vote that down because that's not a true statement.
I'm not sure how to add a note in on that. just to say that there was no actual vote. I don't know if we can include parenthetically after council voted that there was no actual vote. Is that something we can do?
I mean, it's Chair,
Go ahead, Martin.
it's an inaccurate statement. And so the minutes are a reflection of accurate things that happened in council. And, we didn't vote on it because people were gone. So that is completely, and that's actually been, reported to me that was said at the meeting. And specifically, people are calling me because I'm one of the people that was opposed to it. So it's Martin was opposed to it and council voted it down. So, the inaccuracies are, I would like to correct them if possible, whether it be just taking out part of the statement or holding off on these minutes until, we get the okay from the person that made the statement.
Go ahead, Carol.
I think we understood there was two people traveling on this issue. And I think we wanted to make it clear that a decision hasn't been made, is my understanding of the whole thing.
Well, I think I would like to add a note at the bottom of the paragraph, basically saying that there was no official vote concerning land for Red Shield 8's treatment facility project. Would everybody agree to that? Yeah, still under discussion. Can you get that, Abby?
Yes, I got it.
Thank you. Go ahead, Len.
On the statement where I informed council that Phyllis Mathias will be coming in today, I'd rather than use her name, I'd just like to use a local vendor.
Thank you, Len.
Question, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, James.
On the last page, not a correction or anything, but just a comment or question. Nick Roberts from Any Country today came in. He was kind of wanting us to donate to that, right? And we didn't take any action to do that, right?
We did not.
Okay.
I think he had about 3 different levels that we could support and buy in and get certain advantages with the paper. Well, it's not a paper anymore. I don't know what we call it. Yeah. But
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd make the motion to approve June 27th council minutes with corrections.
a motion by Tom, second by Danielle. All in favor? We're unanimous. We have an agenda for today. Additions to the agenda? Danielle? James? I do have one. And we have one walk-in. Tom,
Motion to approve today's agendas with addition.
got a motion by Tom, second by Jimmy to approve the agenda with additions. All in favor? Unanimous. So we'll start with our walk-in.
It'll be Glenn Smith, and he wanted it in open.
In open. Come on up, Mr. Smith. Good morning.
Push the button.
There's it says talk, and that button that says talk.
So when I talk, I have to push the button.
Just leave it
Oh,
and
got
it'll be.
Got it. Thank you. Been a while. First of all, I want to thank you for allowing me a minute to be here to discuss tribal preference hiring policy. And over the years, I've heard about a lot of injustice and discrimination against our people. And I'm here as a tribal member of this tribe, excuse me, because I feel discriminated against with regard to the hiring of a new cash flow and investment management position. I understood that all interviewed candidates, which I was one of, met all the minimum qualifications for the position. However, the non-tribal member that was interviewed was offered the position because of greater experience. And another, greater experience, and then another qualification on the posting was familiarity with CSKT, which I'm a member, and I'm quite sure I'm a little more familiar with CSKT than the candidate that was hired. And what I would like to know, is there language in the tribal preference hiring policy that overrides a tribal member who again met all minimum qualifications for the position? So today I'm asking you for a sound, solid, well-reasoned explanation as to why we broke our tribal preference hiring policy, which discriminated against a tribal member. And that's the question I have today. And I'll repeat that. I would like to have a sound, solid, well-reasoned explanation of why we didn't follow tribal preference hiring policy for this position.
Carol, go ahead.
Good morning, Glenn. Good to see you.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you. Good to
Yeah.
see you too.
Well, it wasn't a part of the interview process, and I'm part of the policy making, so I do understand that the policy is in place, but I think, Mr. Chairman, we need to have an opportunity to talk to, there's two sides to every story. So we need to find out what the other side is and find out if policy was followed and then go from there. And so I would ask you if you could give us an opportunity to talk to the interview party and find out what happened.
Okay.
And I know this was questioned earlier, so, and nothing came of it, but you're in here asking for an answer, and I think if you would respectfully give us an opportunity to find out.
Yeah, and that would be fine. And I would, like to meet with you possibly then for a few minutes in executive session at that time, if it was be possible, because of, I think the Tarot Act, and I think you're all familiar with the word tarot. And if you look at that, it says specifically that all employment by tribes must first offer the position or consider a tribal member that meets the qualification I don't know all the Terrell Act, but I went and looked at certain portions of that, and and especially for tribes that are on reservations. Businesses are supposed to follow that policy too, but especially the tribe should follow the policy procedures of Terrell. And I think that's very important in this position. So, any other comments from anybody then?
Mel has a comment.
Yeah.
Just for clarification on the personnel side of it. So the ordinance 69D says that tribal member preferences applied at hiring. So at hiring is after the interview is completed. So we screen all qualified applicants through. And then at the interview process is where they do their rating. And so how the tribal member preference is applied at that point is if they are, say there's a 1, 2, 3 rating, if both parties rated at a 3, then the tribal member would have preference. That's the way we apply veterans preference as well, as at that rating time. And so I wasn't at the interviews either, but if that other individual is rated higher than you, say you were a 2 and they were a 3, that's where then they would have been selected at that point. So because you got the interview, everybody met those minimum qualifications. So at the interview process is where they make that selection and make that rating.
Yes, and that's what I understood.
Tarot is the Indian Preference Office, but in personnel for interviews, we use Ordinance 69D, which has the tribal member preference listed, but it's at hiring.
Always been my understanding is that we have never officially adopted tarot as in the word tarot. So
Yeah, we upstairs use Indian Preference,
Yeah.
which is our tarot office.
and I know a lot of the tribes do use tarot,
Yeah.
but we have not officially adopted.
Right, ours is IPO.
Okay, thank you, Mel, for that explanation, and I understood that, but the position was advertised as tribal preference. And tribal preference law is the legal right for a tribal member to be offered the position if they meet all the qualifications. So if I would like to have you, Carol, like you mentioned, I would like you to think about this. I would love the opportunity then to get back with you and take just a few minutes. I don't need a lot of time. And we can go from there. And I do thank you for the opportunity to be here and allowing me a few minutes of your time. And have a great summer and take care.
Mr. Smith, Len has a comment.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. And Glenn, thank you for coming in and calling us on this. I had a discussion some time ago about this specific issue. We were given an explanation. I didn't buy it. It clearly says tribal member preference.
That is correct.
And part of the qualifications, as I know, is knowing tribal government.
Correct.
And I know you've been with us for a number of years. You're familiar with the position, and I just think it was wrong. And I advocated that we just re-advertise this. However, at that particular time, it was too late in the process. They've already offered a position to the gentleman. And so council at that time opted not to rescind. But there was another side of the story, and we did hear it, and it did not make any sense to me. I should say that. But it's just one of those things, and I'm glad that you stepped up and are questioning it. Because our tribal member they need to do that when they see something like this, especially when it comes to hiring tribal members. So I appreciate you taking the time to come in and call us on it. So thank you.
Well, thank you too. And I really not just in for myself too. I'm in for all tribal members when it comes to tribal positions and the opportunity for individuals that meet the requirements that they really should be considered or offered that position, and in my understanding of the position. So
Well, thank you for coming in today, Glenn, and we will follow up as Carol said.
okay, that's it then.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all again.
Jennifer?
Mel would like to go in executive with council really quick.
Okay. We will go out of regular into.
Can I sneak mine in real quick? It kind of has to do with some of the discussion we've had this morning. Just wanted to say, Carol made a good point. Some of it should be on record. Just that hiring report that we got from Lisa had great detail in it. And the lack of advertised positions, we're noticing that, and we're working with personnel to make sure we can correct this so those backdoor contracts stop. I know we're not wanting to micromanage our departments, but we do require integrity in our departments and them to follow policy and not backdoor it. And one bad person can ruin it for everybody. So yeah, hopefully we can get this sorted out so we can create equal opportunity for our tribal members moving forward.
Thank you, Daniel. The issue that I wanted to bring up is that we do have letters of interest in being on our enrollment advisory committee. And I wanted to go ahead and take action this morning to basically adopt, what's the right word, to include all of those folks, that appoint all of those folks to that enrollment advisory committee. And my thought is to schedule their first meeting the first Wednesday after the powwow weeks here. Which date is that?
July
24th?
24th.
Is it the 31st? 24th? And have it scheduled here in chambers, probably at 5 o'clock. That makes sense? And then they can set their schedule after that. Motion by Len, second by Tom. Go ahead, Martin.
The people that applied on time, who we're appointing.
The ones that applied before the deadline. And so we got a motion by Len, a second by Tom, all in favor? Unanimous, Carol out of the room.
Mr. Chairman, we can probably also inform the committee that at that time, they can make the decision on whether or not they want to include those other applicants.
Yep, agreed. With that, we will bring Corky up. Morning, Corky. Do you have your mic on? One or the other?
Mike, thank you. Make me nervous. So I'm here for a couple proposals that we need to have approved or disapproved, but the first one is for some funding from FTA with it's FY 22 funds, because we had ARPA funding, CRIS funding, all this funding we used first, and now we need to use the FY 22 funding. It's, we need to just obligate this by resolution that we can use this fund and we can start using it in October. We have, unless we need it sooner than that, but just applying for it. So this is $973,717. It's for operating. And it includes operating cost salaries, preventive maintenance, and also if we needed funding for the F-5311 flight transit, if it needed additional funding, we have this in this grant here to help that out. So it's just for operating funds that we will need to use.
Go ahead, Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Corky. Appreciate the service you guys provide over there. Let's make the motion to approve the resolution.
Second, Mr. Chair, with the question or comment.
Go ahead, James.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this is another great thing that the community, we do this for the whole western side of the state, right? From Missoula to
Yes.
Whitefish. And it's not just benefiting tribal members. We have non-members that use the service. So another area where we work with the community, whether they're Indian or not, and provide a service. And so contrary to Lake County blaming us for everything, we haul people around. We transport them to the train up in Kalispell, or we pick them up in Missoula, et cetera. And I just think this is another example of something that we need to be bragging about. And I know you do to a degree to get that out, but I think the tribe, we need to make a list of all these things that we do that benefit the greater community because we're nice people. I mean, we are nice people, even though we get called whatever the Lake County thinks. But we do provide a service. This helps everyone that needs a ride to A to B. And I know Corky Shop does that. So thank you for managing this, Corky.
No, thank you. And you know, it is a great opportunity that we can serve everybody. It's just not a tribal member. It's good for everybody. And the non-members really do appreciate the service because the county doesn't have one. So.
We got motion by Martin, second by James to approve the resolution authorizing Department of Human Resource Development to apply for the fiscal year 22 by 5311 funds in the amount of $973,717. All in favor? Unanimous?
Another comment, Mr. Chair, on that, if I may. Thank you. You know, this is another one, you know, where the tax dollars are coming back to the community. You know, Indians pay taxes, we all pay taxes. These federal dollars are coming back to help the community. And like you said, the county doesn't have this. We do. So, I mean, next time they're in here, I'm gonna bring this up, say, look, quit kicking us around. We're hauling everyone around that needs a ride. And I'll just tell them, I just hate when they keep, I'll just put it bluntly, I hate when they keep backstabbing us. They sit right in front of here and then they stab us in the back with a letter to the president. And I just don't appreciate it, but in spite of that relationship, we're still providing this service. So thank you, Corky and staff, for doing that.
Thank you. Ready for the second one? I didn't know if, so this is where, this is another one is, every transit that requires a Title VI plan to have for your service. The smaller unit, the smaller, transits in America weren't required to have a Title VI plan. So this year is the first year that they're requiring all transits to have a Title VI plan. This is a template that they sent us to use. And like I said, back in 2015 was the only complaint that we have, and it's in here that we had to add that in this plan, that if we had any complaints throughout the years. So since 08, We have only had one, that was in 2015, and the complaint was sent to the state, which we, you know, that's what we offer. Send this to the state, they'll, you know, they'll tell us what we need to do. And there was no there was this, complaint was, they said it was not a complaint to have, so that was the only complaint we've had since '08 that I know of. So here's a Title VI plan that we have in place. What it does is MDT will put this on their webpage for if anybody was to complain about CSKT transit, and we'll have it on our webpage on transportation, that this form is available for anybody to use. They can send it to the state if they had a complaint against us. So it's just a requirement from FTA, the Federal Transit Administration, to have all transits have a approved plan by their governing body.
Mr. Chair.
James?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Send it to Lake County Commissioners and see if they file a complaint. They're on my list today. I mean, they complain about feet of trust, like they're paying a light bill or a bill. They just send the thing right off. So I'm almost half serious. Just, you don't have to send them a nasty letter. Just, hey, here. You have a complaint, here you go. I'm just curious what they'll say, but I doubt they'll say anything, but correct.
Other questions? So this involves a committee, right? Yeah.
The Lake County TAC is just a committee that all transits in Lake County, Sanders County. I think, there's Mineral County, we all meet together. So that was only the TAC committee, but we need to have a resolution by tribal council that you guys at least looked at this, approve it. If we need additional time, we can. It's just something we have to have in place. So for any future funding down the road, this is going to have to come in place. So didn't know what just needed approved or have redo it and do something else, but we're going to have something in place, a Title VI plan.
Any other comments? I'd entertain a motion to accept his Title VI plan.
Motion.
Motion, second. Motion by James, second by Martin. All in favor? Unanimous. Carol out of the room. Thank you, Corky.
Well, thank you guys. Hope we have a great day, and thank you, James.
Thanks, Courtney.
I'm with you.
And go Steelers with that Russell Wilson quarterback now. Yeah, me too.
Morning, Forestry. Come on up, Zach.
Good morning, everyone. We're here today, or I am initially for acceptance of high bids for the last two line sales in the South Valley management area. The first one, it looks like it is the lower line. With the initial appraised value of that one was $136,840. The apparent high bidder came in right at the minimum of $136,840. We'd like to get the acceptance or permission to accept the high bid on this one first, and then we can move on to the upper.
Good, Tom. Motion by Tom, second by Ding. You only had one bidder?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just one for that.
All in favor? Unanimous.
Where'd the second one go?
There we go.
There we go.
Oh, this is now.
Oh, no,
basic.
we have two in that first packet. There's two that we need to go through, so we just have the second one real quick. The second one, though, is the upper line logging unit in there. There's the lower one. I'll go.
So,
That's, okay, there.
upper.
So the upper came in with an appraised minimum of $156,175. we had an apparent high bidder on that one of 187,659. We'd just like acceptance of high bid on that one as well.
Motion by Danielle, second by Martin. All in favor? Unanimous.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, James.
is there any word on the mill over in Sealy?
So,
What's the status over there?
yeah, it's, not very good news, unfortunately. They were hoping that they'd get a buyer that would come in and kind of utilize the equipment that's already there. It's looking like that's not gonna happen. There is some people that are interested, and there's a group that's wants to basically buy the land and maybe keep some of it. But they're gonna come in and they're gonna basically just install all new stuff, which makes sense. I mean, it's the best way to really do it. But yeah, we're looking like 3 to 5 years probably before they're gonna be up and going. So.
But it'll be a new mill or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And not sure, this is just from some of my contacts over there that I've heard from. I'm not sure if it's gonna be dimensional lumber or what they're gonna do. But yeah, I'll definitely keep you all informed when I know more. I keep poking around that, but so yeah, this is just for the this last one we got for you is for the Boulder Basin logging unit on the top of Boulder. Last Wednesday, we had 3 bidders, and 3 more enterprise, which is, Indian Preference. They won it with a total value of $442,952.10. So yeah, they pretty much he doubled the lower. Yeah, so we just need your permission to accept the high bid.
Hey, James.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, and then I have a comment.
Motion by James, second by Jimmy. All in favor? We're unanimous. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, thank you. I know this has been asked over the years, but how do we figure out how to lumber our own timber?
Right.
I mean, we're in a shortage of mills around our area. I mean, how do we strategically ponder that? I mean, cousin Ruth and I live in an area where the Amish are all around us.
Yeah.
They're repurposing our timber into furniture and things and all kinds of stuff. And,
Right.
and it's just frustrating to watch. It really is.
Yeah.
I was personally banning the Amish store for years until my brother Bill got me a sandwich from there. Like, damn it, now I gotta go there for a sandwich, but.
They got you back in.
Yeah, I'm like, damn it, now I gotta go there for a sandwich. So anyway, I blame my brother Bill for that, but seriously, on that realm, is in this world of shortages of lumber mills, I mean, just pondering, I know you guys probably have thought about it, but I thought about it since for 20 years on council, and it's
Right.
we're the mills aren't more, they're less.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I can't remember the last time I seen a chip truck on 93 or a logging truck
Yeah.
when they used to be all the time.
Mhm.
And so just I don't know.
Yeah, and I know there's been studies that we've done, economic studies on potentially doing a smaller scale mill. Lately, I've been kicking around the idea with the engines folks, which is basically like people from the university, private sector. They're trying to utilize funding from different type of resources. And one of my thoughts is to kind of go for the kind of sub-merch, lower merch stuff. There's a mill down in Durango that right now they're utilizing ponderosa pine, smaller stuff that wouldn't be saw log. And they're doing cross-laminated timber with it. And then from there, they're building small homes. So it would help, it would help take care of a couple issues we have here, on the reservation. For one, moving the getting that wood out, that submerged stuff that doesn't have much of a market, and then potentially helping out with housing. That would be about a 5 million investment, and then you got to think, okay, well, who's going to run it? There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but that's one thing that I've been looking into, and I was talking with the guy who owns it down there, and just kind of seeing how difficult is it to do, and it's a pretty small operation they have down there. As far as like a sawmill, you know, I mean, that would be a whole nother story, but I'm with you. It's a problem.
Tom and then Lynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I guess I'm a little bit concerned when we had competition on the Boulder bid, there's significant difference between the bids.
Mhm.
So that makes me kind of wonder when there's only one bidder, you know, and what's going on and the minimum
Yeah.
bids. And so
Mhm.
why is that one?
So the reason that those are both cable system, line log, steeper terrain. And there's just not a lot of people doing that kind of work. And so that's the reason why there was only one bidder for those. And, you know, it wasn't ever my plan to go in and go after those type of units. But you know, a lot of the easy ground has been logged. I mean, not all of it, but so when we went into setting up this plan of what we were gonna treat and manage up there, of course, you know, we're looking at insects and disease, we're looking at the forest management plan. But it was also just, well, where are we gonna get these acres? And I think that with this LiDAR and our new inventory, it should get a little easier on where we're gonna go, you know, and we have to keep that in mind about, well, is there acres on ground that we can, on tractor ground? So we don't have to have these line sales, but yeah, it's just kind of.
To follow up. So 3 more on their bid though. Why were they able to?
So, and that was a tractor sale. The Boulder Basin was a tractor sale. And then, so he went, that was a lot more than I thought we'd get. I was pretty shocked by his bid.
Okay, I was just wondering if you were shocked by it or not, because I am.
Yeah, I mean, for the Whitewoods to go for 10 is what really, so you know, your subalpine fir, your grand
I was just
fir.
wondering, maybe it's good. It's good for us.
Yeah.
And, I just wonder, you know, what is there that triggers that we can try to make all the bids come in like that? I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, that's.
And he has been losing out on a lot of the bids lately, so I think he was going really, really big to make sure that he could get work. Is kind of what I think is why he did it, but talking with the mills, I don't know where he's getting those prices, because when I told one of the individuals, he said, how's he doing that? So yeah, I don't know.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, that was my question. I noticed that they were bidding $10 a ton for the whitewoods and other species, and I was just kind of curious, is there another market we're not familiar with?
That's what I
missed?
I know, and that's what I was at, and that's what I even asked him. I was like, what is it we don't know here?
Yeah,
And he didn't have much to say. He said, well, just
wanted to work.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
because it appraised at like 350, and then we just knocked it down to 3 for the minimum. So for him to do 10, it was shocking.
Go ahead, Bing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hey, I was up on a field trip with BLM here a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
And they talked about that mill over in Sealy.
Yeah.
And they said this group was really working on to get it to see if they could take it over. So they
Yeah.
said they didn't know how long it was going to take, but they were really working on it to see if they could get that mill back up and running again.
Yeah.
Especially for the people that are unemployed over there in Sealy.
Mhm.
So they're working on it to beat hell. So I don't know if they're gonna make it or not, but they said they were
That's-
gonna work on getting it back. So hopefully that's what happens.
Yeah, and that's just what I heard from the procurement log buyer was that if they do take it over, it's gonna be a major investment. So, might be a bit.
Anything else?
That's it for us.
Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Have a good day.
Enjoy the powwow.
Morning, Ruth.
Push the wrong button. Okay. Thank you. So council, good morning. Modification 10 to your total allocations. So we have some small awards in Indian Affairs Compact, and we're bringing forward increases in total contracts and grants and a small increase in the tribal earmark. So for the net increase of 14.6 million. And on your resolution, it has the breakdown by, in the general fund, increasing it for those tribal earmark program increases. The Indian Affairs Compact has a net increase of 815,000. Contracts and grants is the bulk of this increase at 13.7 million. Total allocations now at 331,732,410. Oops. And when you increased your dire need budget, we were able to reallocate within the general fund to make that increase and not have to increase the total budget. So the general fund remaining at 76 million, except for the earmark. Indian Affairs. So by fund, then you see those changes there.
Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Ruth. I would make the motion to approve the resolution for modification 10 to fiscal year 2024.
Motion by Martin, second by Tom. Other discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just a comment.
Okay, Jim.
You know, looking at that number, $331 million. I mean, 20 years ago, there's no numbers like that on the reports. I was just reflecting in my mind. I'm like, when I first got on back in '04, it was like, there was no, I don't think we were even close to that. So it's just, I appreciate you, Ruth, working on this, and just an amazing observation from just the amounts of money we're talking about here.
Yes, Mr. Steele, yeah, that's my understanding as well, just kind of reflecting back as the tribal spending, especially growing. That general fund used to be less than half of that when I first started. And, you know, with the growth of the government, especially with water compact and in self-governances, that's the big advances have been made there. The tribal spending way, way up.
All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Ruth.
All right, thank you.
John, Dan, and Lisa, good morning.
Morning, everyone. It's always rock, paper, scissors with John and I in terms of who's taking the lead. I can talk about a couple of task orders before you today for review and hopefully approval. Task order 115, in general, our support for facilities and maintenance in terms of all of the work that needs to be done. In general, it's kind of gone from top down. We've got roofs, HVAC, doors and windows, obviously, and then a hodgepodge of other things that are on the F&M list over time that we've been working on. So before you today with task order 115, Doors and windows over a number of departments, number of programs, primarily ECS buildings. We've done I think we've done just about all of the roofs and all of the HVAC for all of them, but now looking at doors and windows and having worked at ECS for a little while last year, I know that this has always been a concern and a need for ECS in particular. As you'll see in the task order itself, in terms of task areas, we've got probation, we've got Elmo Fitness Center, we've got Polson NRD Airport, we've got Polson main NRD office, tribal health. So doors and windows across a lot of these buildings that John has identified in terms of needing repairs and replacement. That's task order 115 in a nutshell.
Thoughts about task order 115? Motion by Carol to approve task order 115. Go ahead, Martin.
Is number one the bulletproof glass, all that also?
Vendor window.
No, the bulletproof glass is all in. It's, this would have been the vendor window, which is outside on the side street, you know, for night or for deposits and stuff. Just removing that to make it, a little harder to get into if somebody wants to get in. Yeah.
Second by Martin to approve task order 115. All in favor? Unanimous. On to 116. Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a question on the funding origin. Is this IDC money or is this ARPA money or any special funding for these?
This is ARPA money and also deferred maintenance. Most of this will fall under ARPA as well as some coming up for FY25. We're trying to get together to get it pushed forward and allocated before the end of the year and worked on. So we're going to be pushing through with some more here. We hope to have pricing in by July 10th or 15th, right around there, so we can get that moving also.
Okay, next task order 116. Again, I talked about a little bit of hodgepodge in terms of random things on the F&M list. Typically what we try to do is stay within a task area, whether it's roofing and bring all that before you, or HVAC, bring that before you. But again, there's a number of things in different communities that need attention individually. So 116 includes gates up at Fish and Game, some concrete at the post office building, some improvements at the MVP building, some fencing out at, a fair amount of fencing out at Kicking Horse Job Corps, some garage doors out there, access for food sovereignty and records management, some lights, and then a phone booth. So kind of a hodgepodge of items here in terms of 116 up and down the reservation and in different communities.
Go ahead, Daniel.
These are kind of tough for me sometimes to go through because it doesn't break it down. I mean, it's a task order and a project, but it's a lump sum of money for all kinds of things. So I don't know, what does it cost to remove the trees and what that is, or what is it going to cost to replace the concrete? So there's like no dollar amounts next to each like thing going on. So it's hard to say, are we paying the right price or not when we look at these? I'm sure you guys are looking at it for, are we getting a fair deal? Are we getting the most bang for our buck? But, you know, I see the Anita Matt trailer phone booth, construction of a phone booth with a storm door. The construction's already there. The storm door is already in. So are we buying another one? Are we constructing that in this task order? Or are we doing the finishing work on the inside of it and putting the phone in there? So I guess those are some of the questions that come to mind when I look at this and we're approving large dollar amounts, that we want to make sure our money's going into the right places. But that's kind of, yeah, hard for me to read through this and make really intelligent decisions with it.
Individual numbers in front of me, but in terms of solicitation and bidding, I mean, the folks that we've worked with, we've had a good rapport with them in terms of numbers, and certainly in terms of us bringing this before John. John has the yay or nay, and like, no, I don't like those prices, or, you know, those prices are acceptable. So these certainly route through John in terms of approval or review. If he was not comfortable, we're not comfortable, so.
And we have negotiated prices with, quite a number of vendors. The medical buildings at both powwow centers they wanted $100,000 at first with other vendors, so we hustled up some other vendors and, we got the prices down to about half, which was about where it should be.
Go ahead, Carol.
Work order, is it work order, task order 16
Task order
for
116.
200,000?
Motion by Carol, second by Tom. All in favor? Unanimous? Take a 5-minute break. Jody will be in at 10:30. Yeah, Bing.
Hey, Dan. Before you leave, yesterday we had a question about, electricians, have on call for the power grounds at Arlie. Do we have anybody on call?
Right.
Okay.
Sam is on, the Smith River? Right now, so who's on phobia? I think they were.
Can we go in executive?
Out of regular into executive. Carol?
So do we take the first one first? Was there action on the first?
So the other one was the org chart was the first one. So Melanie, did you want it in writing in the minutes or?
And an action by council, or is it just consensus? I mean, I can make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve to authorize the board.
Yeah, we're just acting on the action that was taken by council to approve all org charts. So
The question is housing included in that action? That's the question.
the action says all org charts.
So we're
So
just clarifying that language and are we including entities like housing as part of all the org charts? That's the question.
So the action
you took the
would be
actions though.
to exclude housing due to the fact that they are governed by a board through ordinance, what,
38C.
38C.
Okay, so and then will that apply to Tweagle as well?
Only
Because
if
they're
they
under a
come in
different
and make
board?
the request.
Okay, so the minutes will be specific to housing.
Ordinance 38C, which governs the housing authority and the Salish Kootenai Housing
Perfect.
Authority Board.
Other thoughts? I was wanting to include them. Well, that's what. Other thoughts? Go ahead, James.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with just it being action related to housing. I mean, for the housing board to approve the org chart revisions.
We have a motion on the floor by Carol to let housing board be the authorization of their org chart, and a second by James. Other thoughts? All in favor? Martin? Yeah? Oh? It looks like 8-4, and I'm actually opposed.
Would it be helpful if we send you notification whenever there's a change? We only have a few a year.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Would you guys like that over email? Just to shoot you an email whenever there's a change? For informational purposes. Okay,
Yes, please.
okay, I will do that.
Motion on the 5% COLA for housing. Second by Danielle. All in favor? Again, we have 8-4, and I'm opposed.
Okay,
Now, are we clarifying that though? Because Mel was asking us to clarify how that motion read and we just said right now just 5% COLA, but we didn't say.
Yeah, it's the 5% COLA on their present
Today's rate.
salary. On their present salary. That's totally gonna happen after that.
thank you. And then the third item was the resolution certifying citizen participation for the Price Grant. And we are having a community meeting on Monday, and I know it's a holiday, but we're up to that deadline for the grant application. And so we're having it Monday from 11 until 1 at the Housing Authority boardroom, and we're providing lunch to hopefully entice people to come in, hoping for more community engagement. But this is for the 30 manufactured homes to be developed in Arlee, and then 12 repairs for manufactured homes and 12 replacements. And we're going to prioritize elders. So this is just citizen participation only.
Motion by Tom for the resolution certifying citizen participation required for submission of a fiscal year 2023 community development block grant price main competition application. Second by Carol. All in favor? Unanimous.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jody.
Mr.
Thank you,
Chair,
Gene.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
Abby had a comment in the
If you
Chat.
got a question. Let's get to that. I think the board action would be a separate action for, she's talking about include a $25 increase on board meetings. That was
Oh, that was, yeah, sorry, that was for part of the COLA was increasing also the boards. And right now they're at $100 per meeting, so we would be asking for that increase so that SCAHA would be moving together. Yes, it is, but they are a lot less than the other boards are getting paid, specifically credit. We have 2 employees on credits and I'm like, wow.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd make the motion to approve that increase. I do recall we did that for consensus for another board just recently, so.
Right.
Motion to approve the $25.
Motion by Tom, second by Len. You got in ahead of you. All in favor? Unanimous.
Okay.
Carol.
Speedy, did that ever pan out?
I know that they helped get him an application filled out, but he didn't have all of his information he needed. And I asked, you know, because like his DD 214, we would have that on record because he was a tenant before, but he couldn't access his social security, his proof of income. And we have to in order to ensure eligibility. And I visited with him on a couple occasions and he was really rude and he told me it's not your fault, but I do not ever contact me again. If you want to talk to me, call Shelley or Jocko.
Yeah, he was pretty upset with me too, and it was my fault, so
Yeah,
don't.
and I was like, I'm sorry. And he said, it's not your fault. I'm just mad about the whole situation.
And the other thing I wanted to thank you for honoring Bob Kochi at the national meeting. I heard you really did a nice job and he deserves a lot of accolades. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, and so the name for, it used to be Grizzly Bear Home Sites, has officially been changed to Gochi Home Sites. And the ribbon cutting ceremony will be August 13th. And we're hosting the Unaha Summer Meeting and Chairman Dolson is going to be doing a welcome on that Monday morning. I'm going to remind him on Sunday. And then on Tuesday, it would be great if you guys could be there and support the ribbon cutting ceremony. It's going to be amazing and the families are going to be there. The homes are going to be, the exterior will be mostly done. They'll still be working on the interior, but they are beautiful. If you guys have a chance to drive down Claremont Road, you can see the new construction. It looks so sharp. I couldn't be more pleased. And we just started breaking ground for a new shop behind our building, our office building, and it's going to be a warehouse and our lawns crew. We've been leasing the muffler shop from you guys next to IGA here forever, I think, and we're going to move our staff home into the shop. And then the warehouse will be moved out there, and then we're going to remodel the current warehouse to more office space because we've outgrown our building. So lots of progress. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you guys all for your time, and I'll see you at the powwow.
Can we go back in executive? Can we go into executive? Can we go in executive?
Out of regular into executive.
And I think Brian just had one last update, so I don't think he needs to go back to executive. Brian, just the follow-up.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Just quick footnote clarification. The proposed rule hasn't been published in the Federal Register yet. I just checked that link that was in the Dear Tribal Leaders letter. So I think they're hoping for it to be in by close of business today, but it's not clear when it'll be published. But that first consultation session is scheduled for Seattle for July 15th for sure. That's all.
Thanks, Brian.
Yep.
Okay, we have 3 action items, Mr. Chairman, members of council, for your consideration. The first, and Chelsea can correct my language if I'm wrong on this, is to approve the IJC terms of reference and allow Chairman Dolson to sign on behalf of the tribes.
Sounds good, Dan. Second by Bing. All in favor? We're unanimous.
Okay, next, Mr. Chairman and council for consideration is a motion to approve entering into a retainer agreement with NARF.
Motion by James. Second by Jimmy. All in favor? We got unanimous.
Then our last action item, Mr. Chairman, for the council's consideration is approval of a MOU between MVP and the IBEW concerning the former supplemental group.
Motion by Danielle. Get a second. Second by Tom. All in favor? We're unanimous. And was there a letter to hold off?
I think Chelsea was still working on a letter and she would get that to the council. Chelsea, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. It's not ready yet.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dan.
Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate the council allowing us to go way into your lunch hour. Had a lot of updates, but I appreciate your time as always. Tom?
Mr. Chair, again, I want to thank legal department, excellent staff. John, good work. Chelsea, good work. Shane and Mike, good work. I mean, and Brian, you got a good job, Dan. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. All the credit goes to staff. So appreciate the council's.
Yeah, but none of you
Kind words.
brought us lunch. Just kidding.
We're in recess for. So the only action we gotta consider is the home site expansion and the walking. Let's go ahead with the walking path. Then you. Motion by James to go forward with the walking path. I'm hoping as long as we have written consent from the Rose. Second by Tom. All in favor? Unanimous. And now the home site expansion. Tom?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would make the motion to modify Courtney Couture's lakefront lease to expand into the adjacent home site lease to the east to facilitate the rebuild of her home in an appropriate location, setting back from the lake.
Motion by Tom to expand the home site lease, second by James. Other remarks? All in favor? So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and 1, 2, 3 against. The motion carries. Yeah, 5, 4, and 3 against. 3 against are Jimmy, Bing, and myself. Thank you, ladies. Come on in, Ralph. Good afternoon. Are we in open or in executive? Executive? We will go out of regular into executive. Sure. There might be an action they want to do before we adjourn.
Yeah, can we, I'm wondering if an action be necessary to just have that department come in so we could talk about considering waiving that for this particular instance, so maybe not at this moment, but at least have them ready for, when's our next meeting, Tuesday? Yeah, well, quarterly, yeah, we could do it then too and really cause a stir. But I mean, I really want to do a serious action on this, but I think the roof needs to be done, so if we could have a report back from them to amend the policy or what have you to, so we can get this done.
We can do that. With that,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm glad that, it just came to my mind. So the week of July 15th is the Kootenai Cultural Camp. There was a request for a change of duty for various employees with supervisor approval. I'd like to make the motion to approve the change of duty for those employees with supervisor approval to attend the Kootenai Cultural Camp at the Standing Arrow Powell Grounds.
that open to any of our employees or? Motion by Lynn, second by James to allow for change of duty for employees to go to the Kootenai Cultural Camp on July 15th. The week of July 15th. All in favor? Unanimous. Go ahead, Jim. Bing.
I was talking to my sister the other day and she was telling me about the work that she's doing at home for lands. And she said that she sends the work back into lands and they turn around and they send it up to the superintendent for corrections that need to be done on the work that she's doing. And it sits there. And a lot of that work too has got to be done, you know, for credit. Because credit's waiting on some of that too, the land issues. So she said that's what a lot of the holdup is not, the corrections aren't being made by superintendent's office over here and getting back to land so that you can go ahead, they can send it back to, the, area office. So maybe if you could talk to somebody, you know, that's doing that, and then she said that's what she gets them in and puts them in there, but, and she don't ever get anything back, and lands don't get back for them to send them to the man over in Oregon, so.
Appreciate that. Into that. So if we don't know where Shane is in the discussion of trademarks, I think maybe, let me talk to Shane and get back to you before we actually make the motion. And maybe he's got something outlined. I know I had seen our flags being produced online, and I mentioned that to him, and I think he was contacting folks and stopping other folks from making our flag. But I don't know if he's got something totally worked out or not, so. Yes. So. Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, I brought this up years and years and years and years ago that we needed to copyright, trademark, and patent every damn thing we own, every name we have in our entire language, everything. And we haven't done any of it. I mean, there's been national parks that have lost the names of their buildings and stuff because someone else trademarked it or patented it. And so, and there's terms, there's length of time on trademarks. So sometimes you have to renew it and redo it, but Red brought it up again when we were doing the reservation collection permit thing. But it goes back to like the Salish elders sharing information. And Mr. Hart ended up publishing a book on information that was, I would consider extremely closed in, and it turned into a commercial venture. So, yeah. And so I think we need to go full gauntlet on it and protect what is uniquely ours. But I have, as far as a tribal member and a business wanting to do so, as long as it's appropriate and it's tasteful. I mean, we actually have a whole series of icons in like the natural resources or the land conservation comp plan. Every department has a logo. There's just tons of them out there we've created over the years, and then the flag, and I think there's 2 or 3 seals. I mean, there's a lot of different things. Of course, this one's the most famous one. So
Just like, let's get ready to rumble, huh? Well, with that, I'll take Len's motion to heart. We're adjourned.